As a young lawyer, I was very interested in living at the intersection of law, engineering, and medicine. My own background was that I came from a medical family. My father was a professor of medicine and a chairman of a medical department at a medical school in New York State. I was raised going to see him in his office at Upstate Medical School in Syracuse, New York. When I decided to become a lawyer, I carried with me the background that I was raised with. In my house, I was exposed to people like Jonas Salk and Albert Sabin. My father, in fact, did a fellowship with Albert Sabin in Cincinnati, the inventor of the oral polio vaccine. And they developed the dye test for toxoplasmosis together, the Sabin-Feldman dye test. I have a brother who's a physician in California. So I always had an interest in medicine. And when I decided to become a trial lawyer, I naturally gravitated to cases that had complexity, that involved principles of law, engineering, and medicine. Most of them required reconstruction of accidents. I've always done many product liability cases over my career, and they are very complicated, very expensive, and very expert witness intensive. And I got my background learning those cases. When I was in my young 30s, I was honored to be hired by the family of a 5-year-old girl who was tragically killed when she came into contact with a downed power line in a rural part of Michigan. She was walking with her mother down the driveway of a home that had been owned by a professor at a university who was in Europe for the summer on sabbatical. They had agreed to check on this professor's home in the event that there was a storm. There was a very severe storm the previous day. So they went up to see if the power was on, because power had been out in some areas where they lived. As they were walking up the driveway, and the mother was holding the hand of her 5-year-old daughter, her daughter stepped on some green leaves underneath which was what looked like a cable. She received a horrible jolt. Her daughter fell to the ground lifeless. She was stunned by the event and by the electricity that she also felt. That girl died instantaneously, and her mother witnessed it. And no family should ever, ever have to live such an event.